Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode, a special episode at the Warehouse Underground podcast, episode number 18. I'm Ben, the host of the show, and with me today is someone that reached out to me online and said, "Hey, I follow the Warehouse Underground podcast. I think it's awesome. I really want to come on the show. I am a new shipping manager at my company. I came up in the through the ranks as an associate and I want to come on and talk about my experiences doing that. What it was like, some of the challenges that I faced, some of the lessons learned, and everything that goes with that. And if you know me and you know what the Warehouse Underground is all about, then you know I immediately said, absolutely yes. And when do you want to start? So I'm really excited to have this guy on the show today to talk about some of the stuff going on inside warehousing. And oh, by the way, we're calling this series Manager Methods for those of you that are curious what the title of the series is. But his name is Michael Pierce. Very excited to bring him on the stage and introduce him to you guys. So with that, I will pop him on the stage. Michael, welcome to the Warehouse Underground, my friend. Thank you very much for coming on. And how are you doing?
Thank you for allowing me to join on. I'm doing well.
Yeah, awesome. So just before we start, it takes a lot of courage, I think, to just blindly reach out to somebody on LinkedIn, which is what you did, and
Yeah.
start talking about all those things and come on a show where your face is out there and and what you're saying is out there. So I said it in the intro, my friend, but I really, really do appreciate it. And there's a lot of good that I think could come from this. So thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. All right. So before we jump too much into the show, just the intros in the beginning. Can you tell the audience just who you are, what your background is in the warehousing and operational world?
So currently, I am a shipping manager at a small manufacturing plant in Wabash, Indiana. I started working in warehousing in 2017, September to be exact. So I have almost a decade worth of experience, starting from warehouse associate from small local companies, some time with with a major company in Ohio for a stint of 3 years, to coming back to my roots and going back down smaller to a company and jumping into a warehouse manager's role.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so I mean, what what was it that kind of made you want to make that leap? Because there are thousands. I mean, there's tens of thousands of associates around the country, maybe more, but not all of them make that leap. Not all of them want to kind of jump up and move into managers. So, what was it that motivated you specifically to kind of move up into that? I mean, was it money, the fame, the prestige, or just kind of career trajectory? Because everybody has their own different motivations. So I'm curious about what yours were.
I can guarantee you money was not a factor in it. It was actually a pay cut. uh,
Sorry about that, man.
uh, it's okay. I think it's looking at it, you do 7 years, almost 7 years of being a warehouse associate, and for those who are ambitious, you're thinking, what's the next big step? Um,
Yeah.
my pri- my prior tenure, I was a shipper and receiver there, but I partnered quite a bit with a warehouse manager there. He and I are actually in very close contact. I did three, no, four full inventories, counting product,
Ooh,
counting components, raw material. When we first started, when I first started, there was 578 different product numbers. That was including components, material,
man.
finished parts, and in assisting him with the inventory reduction and purging obsolete product, my last inventory with him was 378 part numbers. It went from two 12-hour days down to a total of 12 hours counting, putting numbers into the system, and going back for recounts. So being under a leadership to that brings that change and brings efficiency to a warehousing environment. It's like I learned a lot of core lessons underneath him. And it so when I moved back to Indiana due to personal reasons, I was looking for jobs. I don't know anyone listening knows what the job market is right now.
Yep.
Uh, I did over 100 applications within 6 weeks, 10 job interviews, one job offer, just to
Yep.
give you the metrics. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I sympathize with you on that. I mean, I've actually had a recruiter on the podcast before, and that was some of the stuff that we were talking about. And the job market is challenging now for everyone, and that includes the distribution center industry too. But it sounds like you had some great mentors in the past that kind of really help guide you. And I know you're not alone on that. I've talked with a lot of people that say, "Man, I had this great example that I followed, and that's kind of what led me to want to move up and do that. It wasn't because of the money. It wasn't because I just sort of wanted to emulate this person that I really respected going forward. So that's cool. But one of the things that you will sometimes hear, Michael, is that like associates will have often a little bit of a every associate out there that has a manager, they look at them and they're kind of gauging them, right? I mean, they look at them and saying, okay, are they good or are they bad? But sometimes associates will have an incomplete view of all the things that go on inside a manager life. They may only see a portion of it. And so, how was it for you? I mean, when you went from being an associate to a manager, once you got there, was it everything that you thought it would be? Was it what you expected, or were there parts of it that were just you didn't anticipate? This is just not what I expected. It's different, or I didn't know about this or that. Because sometimes there's a little bit of a gap there. What did you see in your experience once you made that leap up? How you thought it was going to be to what it was like?
So, truth be told, my prior tenure at Fentech Solutions, formerly Sunoco Protective Solutions, I was a part of the leadership team in terms of backup leadership. So I got an idea of what some of those meetings would be, talking about production stats,
Yeah.
on time delivery, warehouse accuracy. So I got to see some of the inside of that before making that step in. So I consider myself very blessed in that. I going back to your prior question, what another thing that drove me into it was the call to or the inner call to take on a higher amount of responsibility.
Yeah.
And so when you step in a manager's role, yeah, everyone's going to be gauging you. They're going to be looking at how are you leading the team? Are you how are you interacting with the other associates? Are you in this posture, oh, I'm better than everyone else, or
Mm.
are you going to step in like what my manager did before acted on any changes? He looked for input. He
Mm.
looked from the people who it's going to be directly affecting and say, "Hey, I've got this idea for a change. Be brutally honest. Am I an idiot?" Sometimes he would phrase it that way too, because but he was looking for input. So that's one thing from like the manager's life. If someone's looking to jump in, being an associate up to a manager, be open to what your associates tell you in terms of feedback. Of course, there's going to be some things that like, yeah, that's a good idea, but it's not necessarily best idea. Maybe can I take that idea and make it better just a little
Yeah.
bit? Life of a manager for what I do. The company I work for is Global Precision Parts out of Wabash, Indiana. So I'm a mix of I'm still an associate, but I also manage a team as well. So I
Mm.
am out there working on the floor, pulling product, getting shipments ready. So well, I'm also part of leadership. So I help communicate with production, scheduling, quality, and communicate across those departments. Hey, we found rusty parts up in the rack, quality. I need you to put these on hold, or production, I need you to prioritize these because customer service is asking us to get these parts out as soon as possible. Or production scheduler asking, hey, go get us a cycle count on these parts up in the racks. We need to know how much we have to see if we need to put this on a machine soon.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think you mentioned something that hurts a lot of young managers, and that is they they don't like you really need to build a consensus amongst your team and get input and feedback from all of your team. For one, that's going to make them feel as if they are part of the solution. They're engaged, even
oh,
if you don't necessarily do what they say. If they still know that you're taking in the inputs in an honest way, then they'll feel like they're part of it and they want to support it. But two, as you probably realized, once you become a manager, there's so many different things that are going on that now you're sort of responsible for. And it's hard to be an expert in all of them. It's hard to be aware of all of them. And so by building that consensus from the team, they can really step in, I think, and help you from being an idiot. Like you said, I'm missing something. It's not because I'm trying to do bad. It's that there's a lot of things that are easy to omit. So I think building that consensus among the team is one of the important things I think to establish when you start out as a new manager, especially if you kind of come up from an associate level where it's all about what can I do? Like, what's my job? What's my specific task that I'm supposed to do? But when you start to become a manager, it's not about what you can do anymore. It's about what can your team collectively do. And that
oh,
is a big mind shift that has to happen. So I'm glad you kind of brought
eh,
that up.
and that mind shift is not only what can my team do, but also when you're in a leadership position, you're not thinking about how your people can serve you. How can you serve your people so they can
Yeah.
be effective at their roles as well? And it's sometimes just as simple as someone's. Uh, we have summer help right now. A high schooler's in there helping us pack off parts as they come in or get orders ready. And I can tell you, they're busting out parts left, right. And like, slow down. I cannot find enough work for you because I have yet to go find it. But at the same time, I genuinely tell them, thank you. You're doing a great work. And since they're young, it's like, if you need a professional reference, don't be afraid to ask. Uh, so that type of encouragement helps keep morale up.
Yeah.
B- Also, when like going back listening to input, so we had a major project. I walked into a mess. You kind of heard about it in our LinkedIn, but give listeners an idea. I walked into a warehousing facility that had an on-time delivery below 50%.
Yikes.
A good portion of it was production, was and is still production. Um, they're working out the kinks on that. However, my predecessor would ship out parts due in 6 to 7, 8 weeks, but we're shipping late on stuff that's due in the next 24 to 48 hours. So when I stepped in, I had about a 6 month backlog of work of stuff that that was neglected. On top of that, this facility inherited 40% of the inventory from their East Liberty sister plant that got shut down.
Hmm.
So I'm getting tossed into a whirlwind of I've got over 120 skids on the floor that I could barely navigate a fork truck through, let alone a wave uh, cherry picker through. And I'm like, how am I going to make this efficient? It got to the point where the customer service rep and I, within the first 30 days, are like, I'm on week number 3. I haven't quit yet.
Yeah.
She's like, how much hair have you lost? I don't want to talk about it. But it,
Well, but you probably see though, and I've heard other people in the industry talk about this, that when you get opportunities though, when you get an opportunity to step in to be a manager, it's usually not because everything's been running great. So a lot of times the opportunities are covered in they're covered in mud. and you got to kind of come in and get muddy and get the mud off and get to the good stuff. So it doesn't sound like that's too dissimilar from that.
No, it's not. And we had 3 major weekends of cleanup in preparation for our customer visit. The first weekend, of those 110 skids, we got 75 off the floor and up into racking. It's a night and day difference in terms of operational efficiency for warehousing, for the shipping side of things. But we are still a long way to go. Like some of the projects in the pipeline is getting the rest of our inventory off the floor up into the racks, getting our inventory system updated, then start streamlining processes. How can I get it to where I can take someone from our manufacturing department, put them in shipping for a couple of days, and they're able to learn processes
Yeah.
quickly, efficiently. By day 4, they could be off to the races.
So it sounds like you're kind of taking advantage of some of those cross training initiatives. A lot of people talk about that, but how important that is. So has that been your kind of go to? I mean, it sounds like you inherited a mess, so there were some immediate things that you could do right away. But outside of that, what was more like what was more of your medium and kind of long term strategies for tackling some of the challenges that you had? I mean, the cross training is one of them, but what were some other things that you and your team talked about to make it better, and really fight through and make some improvements?
Um, so when so when my prior shipping clerk was there, it's just me and a shipping clerk,
Yeah.
uh, discussing in terms of we have a customer where we have to assemble the metal parts with O-rings and caps, and sometimes you're doing thousands for a given order. However, the space that we're given, it's tight. You don't have a lot of room to work.
Yeah.
So planning on finding an area where we could put that, have enough room to work, but also start staging orders ahead of time. We send a lot of product out to outside services. It could be anywhere from one skid to I blew out a truck 2 weeks ago with 7 skids on it. So it kind of ranges what I have product wise going out. But the big thing that we're still fighting is floor space for
Yeah.
stage shipments, and the big thing, and also the big thing I'm fighting against is sitting on $5 million of obsolete inventory.
Very common problem in the industry. But I mean, do you have good cooperation with the purchasing team, with the buyers? Are they aware of the space constraints that you have, or are they just kind of putting their head in the sand and pretending that they don't see it?
Uh, they understand the space constraints, and they're looking for someone who's proactive that can kind of solve that because
Help
we
them.
have product that we have 9 skids of that we're never going to sell again. So how can I consolidate that into a bulk packaging, free up 9 skid spots on a shelf to put stuff that's active up there? So it's kind of thinking that playing speed chess, being 3 4 steps ahead rather than dealing with the immediate problem. Oh, here comes the immediate problem. That's how you get on the back foot. That's how you get behind rather than getting up to our inventory is accurate. We don't need to do a full physical inventory this year. And that's one of the
Yeah.
problems that they're also facing is that their inventory system, the counts and what physically we have on hand, they don't line up. So that's
Yeah.
like long term, getting that up to our cycle counts are at a 95% accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, losing control of the inventory accuracy inside of any warehouse is an absolute killer. I mean, once that happens, you really you can't run the facility because you can't have expected pick rates, so you can't hold in people accountable. You don't know if you can fulfill the orders or not. Sales is not confident that the facility's right. Buying, purchasing's not. So the foundation of any successful warehouse, I think, is inventory control and the processes that you use to control it and the reporting that comes up to you to know, do I have confidence in this or not? Because once those are gone, it's just as if you build a foundation in sand. So it sounds like
Absolutely.
though you've made some improvements in the inventory control at the facility, and it's started to kind of show some fruit.
One example that showed some fruit, I was up in the racks looking for some product, and I came across a part number that we were currently running on our machines. I'm like, "We have an open order for this." I went and found the order. I was like, "I'm gonna pull this skid down." So I went and grabbed a fork truck, found 65,000 pieces of a part that was not reflected in inventory, was already at the plated level, and it it changed our production scheduling. They ended
Yeah.
production on that part that night and got the next job into the machine. Half a year's worth of production. Digging digging deeper, I found out that my predecessor, there were times that he would go and look for parts. If he couldn't find it within 5 to 10 minutes, zero it out.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and that was before we did the warehouse organization and also doing the physical count on things, where I started questioning, what do we really have in those racks? Do we actually have parts that we can ship? And there's been some instances we've been finding free money. Anything we ship
Yeah.
out the doors, it's sales, and finding that free money that we don't have to produce in 3 to 4 months time, that makes accounting happy. That makes customer
Yeah.
service happy, because with a warehouse and customer service relationship, you screw up on shipping or you don't ship something, you're the first one they're going to. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what's going on? Why didn't this ship?" And if you tell them we don't have inventory and you've went and checked and said, "Yes, we don't have that inventory," now it lands on production.
Yeah.
But customer service, they take the brunt of it. So if you miss ship on in shipping, they're coming to you and they want answers.
Yeah, well, this kind of brings me to another question, and that is, okay, now you're in charge, so you're the manager, you're the shipping manager, and like you said, the customer service is going to come to you, and you really owe them an answer because it's not them specifically; they're doing it on behalf of the customer, and so, but how have you I mean, have you found that to be a stressful part of your job where, hey, I'm supposed to be the leader of my team and managing my employees and developing my employees and doing that, and that's great. But now I also have all these other people asking me for information and they need this and what are we going to do about this, like a customer service. So how have you kind of been able to balance that new stress of, I've got to be accountable to all these people but also my team at the same time, and I can't really neglect either side, and the whole thing will fall. What has that been stressful for you? Has that been a new thing for you? And if it is, what are some of the coping mechanisms that you've put in play?
It hasn't been a new thing for me. My last job, I was kind of like go-to shipper and receiver. If you want something done expediently, like within 5 to 10 minutes, go find Mike. Tell him to stop whatever he's doing. Go find him. I was also backup safety coordinator there and HASCOM champion. So I was wearing three hats anytime I was on the clock. So
Yeah.
I got used to that, changing out roles really quickly. Um, the times when it becomes stressful, and it's been stressful for the past 6 weeks, is being shorthanded, being the
Yep.
only one working in shipping, being the only one getting orders out the door. That's where it really starts. Okay, I've got to start prioritizing what requests come on through. And there have been times where I've had to, sometimes it's standing your ground for yourself and learning to say, no, I cannot do this right now because that's going to overload what I'm currently doing. Um,
Yep.
I had to tell that to the plant manager recently. He wanted to wait for Monday for a certain shipment. I was like, no, Monday is month end. If we
Yep.
compile all these orders onto month end, I'm not going to be able to get as much out to get all the sales that we need to get out. And he's like, I didn't think about that. Sometimes it's just for simple requests. Sometimes it's like, can you ask this person to help? It
Yep.
Saying no is probably one of the hardest things I've learned. One of the hardest things to learn. I'll be completely honest. I'm a people pleaser,
Mhm.
which in a manager's role, that's not really going to help you be successful. You got to learn. There has there's an ability to be decisive and know, is this something I'm able to do right now? And if the answer is no, I'm making that decision very quickly, asking someone else to pick up on that responsibility or that load. The other side is having a sense of humor. My
I like that.
my my prior
Yeah.
boss, he and we've we I kid you not, we would work long hours doing the inventory. Sometimes it would just be us shooting shooting crap back and forth at each other and cracking jokes, just having a laugh while we're counting this part number for the second time because one of us lost count and there's a crack about
Yeah.
old age.
I love that. And that is an overlooked component of, I think, being a balanced and successful warehouse manager is a sense of humor. I 100% agree with that. That's what, so I do another show that you may know at the Warehouse Underground called the Tiger Team Show. And that's what we do on there. It's just, we make fun of stuff and we have some wit and some humor about things that are going on inside FCs. But I hope that more and more people do that out there because it's a great stress relief, right? It's a great balancer, and then it kind of helps, I think, remind you that, okay, I know that this seems serious and very important, but it's not life or death, right? Like we'll try to do our best, and we understand and it's important, but it's okay to be human, right? It's also okay to have a good sense of humor and make fun of some things and actually have some joy while you work and some laughs, right?
It's like one of the Spartans in the movie 300 saying when they're being told that their arrows of the Persians will block out the sun, they said they'll fight in the shade. It's that wit to look at a problem, laugh at it. What does that laughter do? It diffuses it to
Yeah.
where rather than this massive problem, you're breaking it down into a series of smaller problems that you're now tackling one at a time. And once you get that momentum, nothing's stopping you.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Now let me ask this question. So downshift or shifting gears a little bit. When people are coming up the ranks, and they're associate, and then they're going to be a manager, in their head, sometimes they envision what it's going to be like as a manager. Okay, here's how I'm going to be, and this is what I'm going to do. But sometimes they don't realize that they're only thinking about themselves or people like them. I'm going to manage this way because that's what I like and the people that are like me like that. But then once they become an actual manager, and a lot of times you're managing people that are nothing like you at all. They're completely different. And so, did you find that was the case that, hey, I thought I was going to manage one way, but then the people were different, so I had to change my style of what I would like. What say you on that?
I think the best piece of advice here, and I've heard it from another podcast, the Sean Ryan show, with his interview with Tom Homan. His advice that he got from his dad, and it's the advice that I've started reminding myself, don't forget where you came from. Meaning, don't forget
Absolutely.
where you came out from being able to work as an associate and work alongside people of multiple different backgrounds, different personalities, different work ethics, and being able to do that. Because as a manager, pressure's on for you because you got to be able to not only manage but work and effectively with those teams. But it's also trying to bring out the best in those individuals as well. And that's a harder challenge at times. For me, personally, the case is I walked into a place where they were used to the shipping manager not giving a rip.
Mm,
And they were used to contentment, the laziness, reactive rather than proactive. So to have someone come in cares about what they're doing and wants to bring success onto the floor, the atmosphere's changed a bit.
Yeah.
So I think what drives the mindset of your associates is how the manager drives. If they feel or get a sense that you're not coming in, you're not laying it all out there, you don't care, you're going to see the same thing grow within your own employees. And yet, I've seen management positions go, "What's going on with our associates? Why are they so apathetic?" It's how
Yeah.
you lead from the front. There's a difference between charge and follow me, boys.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I try to land most of the time. I'm not good at it. I'm still learning of follow me, boys.
Well, it's always evolving though, Michael. I mean, this is why I tell people all the time, like managing is constantly evolving.
Oh
It's
yeah.
constantly evolving, it's constantly adjusting to changing dynamics. It's like the human body. I mean, sometimes you're sick, other times you're healthy, sometimes this is good, sometimes this is bad. Management's the same way because there's humans in there. But I always look at it like a car, Michael, and I think you're really onto something when you're talking about engaging and remembering where you come from. If you have a car and you're the owner of that car, when you get in the car and you step on the gas, if you want it to perform, if you want it to drive and you want to be able to drive it, then you have to take care of that car. You got to change the oil, you got to put gas in it, you got to put air in the tires, you got to bring it in for maintenance. And being a manager is very similar. If
Oh
you
yeah.
do all those things for your employee base, if you change the oil, if you get it in alignment, if you do all this, then when it comes time to step on the gas, it's going to go. But if you don't, right, if you don't do those things, just like in a car, there may be a day where you try to drive that car and an engine locks up and it's just not going to go anymore. And you think, what happened? Well, you just didn't put enough care and feed into that car. And I think managing a staff in any organization, but especially in the warehousing environment, I think is very similar to use a car analogy there.
And I've also seen production supervisors look down on shipping and receiving. Like, you guys drive on a forklift, or you guys are at like production machines, so you guys have it good. It's However, there are times where we're taking the brunt of
Sure.
being cursed out by truck drivers.
Yeah.
What's taking so long? Meanwhile, them not realizing you're actually slowing us down rather than speeding us up by
Yep.
us addressing your unprofessional behavior. So there's that too. There's Shipping has a weird dynamic relationship with production sometimes, where the prior company I worked at, the first shift supervisor did not look favorably to the shipping department, even though we were the ones that when he needed stuff done, we went and got it done for him
Yeah.
in a timely manner.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, it does happen. But I think where it does happen, people should try to put that away. I don't think it's
Yeah.
a good thing. So let me ask this. So kind of summing it all up. So what's your advice? Right? Like, what advice do you have if there's somebody out there that's listening that's an associate or they're considering moving up into the world of management? What's your advice to somebody who is wanting to do the things that you've done in your job and your career?
First one, I've got multiple, so I'll start with the first. Don't forget where you come from. Remember where you started out as an associate. If you move up to a shipping managers, or even go beyond a shipping managers to a coordinator of a larger company, don't forget where you come from. Two, be humble and be open to learning, because some of the people that you'll work with will have years and years worth of experience in a certain industry that may be valuable, and their input may be valuable for you to make better decisions
Hmm.
for that team moving down the line. And three, and it's one of my favorite quotes from Jordan Peterson: adopt maximal responsibility. You're going to be responsible for a team. In case of being a warehouse manager, you're going to be responsible for product. So being a good steward of what's been given to you is absolutely key to your success.
Awesome. I love it, man. Number 4, sign up for the warehouseunderground.com, right? Lots of good. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just kidding. No, man. So look, really cool show. I'm really glad again that you reached out to me. I think there was a ton of cool stuff that you brought up, a lot of great perspectives, and it's real. I mean, the things that you're talking about are real. They're showing up all across the country, around the globe, really, with real managers, real associates that are really working there. They're not selling things in a booth at ProMat, and they don't have. This is where the real nitty gritty things are happening, and I appreciate you coming on to talk about that with me. I think it was very insightful, and I hope there's other people out there that can benefit from you. Are they fair? Is it fair game to have them reach out to you
Oh yeah.
if they listen and they say, I want to kind of learn more about him, talk to him.
Oh yeah. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you follow Ben or Warehouse Underground on LinkedIn, feel free to reach out. I'm willing to
Awesome.
answer questions.
Awesome. I hope someone does, man. I hope someone does. And again, thank you for coming on the show, Michael. Good luck to you and your organization. And I'm sure I'll see you around on the LinkedIn streets, my friend.
Yep. Thank you, Ben.
You got it, my friend. Take care. All right, guys, that concludes today's show. Thank you, Michael Pierce, for coming on to talk about the real stuff that's going on out there inside warehouses and facilities around the country. If you want to know more from him, reach out to him. As the Warehouse Underground goes, please sign up for the website. Cool stuff going on inside the community. Lots of great content there. Check out the Tiger Team, episode 3, released earlier this week. You guys will like it, and some wit, humor, and sarcasm, all related to what's going on inside warehouses and DCs around the country and around the globe. And as this podcast goes, I will see you next week for episode number 19. Thanks again, and take care, and God bless.